Parrots, you're being driven? Already you drank that much?
I have to have a little beer.
Ah, I hear. Okay. Enjoy it. Okay, so yesterday we said, Shannon, our Mishnah, right? We're on the Lamed Zayin of the base around 7 lines up from the bottom. So yesterday, the Mishnah, we had a machlekes in the Mishnah if an Eved gets captured and then they redeem the Eved. So does the Eved go back to the original guy or not? So the Chachamim, the Tanakama had said, it depends why they ransomed him. If they ransomed him so that he should go free, so then he goes free. If they ransomed him that he should go back to his original owner, so he goes back to the original owner. Rav Shimon Gamliel said, no, it don't make a difference. He always goes back to the original owner. And basically, we said that machlokes is dependent on is there a mitzvah of pidyon shvuyim on an eved the same way there's a mitzvah of pidyon shvuyim on at least that's one of the ways of learning it. Is there a mitzvah of pidyon shvuyim on a eved the same way it is on a yid, right? So Abaya had said that this Mishnah is talking about that the Rabbanah talking about before Yish. Meaning the Eved didn't give up. The Baal didn't give up on the Eved, so therefore you got to give the Eved back to the Baal, right? And Rava had said it's talking about after Yish. Okay, for whatever their reasons were. So Mesri, now the Gemara is asking kashas on that. Mesri, Amar Rav Shimon Gamliel. So Rav Shimon Gamliel said in the Mishnah, Kishem shemitzvah liftos is b'nei chayrin, with 7 lines up from the bottom of Lam Zayin and base. So Kishem shemitzvah liftos is b'nei chayrin, kach mitzvah liftos is avodim. The same way it's a mitzvah to be paid the b'nei chayrin, so it's also a mitzvah to be paid the avodim, right? Rav Shimon Gamliel holds they got to do the same pidyon. So therefore, Gittin being Gittin, they're going to be paid to the Eved. So Bishlam al Abaya don't look Yish. So Abaya who said that the Mishnah is talking about before Yish, that's what he meant by kishem, meaning the same way you have a mitzvah to do pidyon on a free person, you have a mitzvah on an Eved. Although the Rava but Rava said we're talking about after Yish. Okay, so it's after Yish. So why is the Eved going back? Why is he going back to the owner? I'm sorry, I just lost the place. Now, according to Rava, that's somewhat after Yush, right? So then why would it go back to the owner if they paid him to the owner? So again, Rava had said that Chizkiah said that the reason why you have to send the Eved back to the owner is because if you're going to let the Eved go free, then every Eved that wants to get away from his owner is going to go give himself over to Goyim and have himself be captured, and then that's his easy way out of being an Eved, right? So because of that, Chizkiah said there's a takana. But that doesn't fit in the word with kishem, right? So, right? So it doesn't fit in with the words kishem. You do this, it's shame you do that, right? So Amalach Rava. So Rava says no. That's not what Rav Shimon Gamliel meant when he said kishem. Rav Shimon Gamliel lo have a yoda my kamir Rabbanon. Rav Shimon Gamliel did not know what the Rabbanon were saying. He just didn't understand the Rabbanon. She said to the Rabbanon, again, the Rabbanon had said that no matter what, when they redeem this Eved, he goes back to the original owner. So he said, I don't understand. Rishon says, I don't understand what the Rabbanon is saying. If it's before Yush, right? If it's before Yush, then that's what it means. Kishem, that the same day it's a mitzvah to be paid the free people, it's the mitzvah to be paid the avodim. And if it's after Yush, then it's like Chizkiah, right? So meaning he's saying Mamanav Shah. Rav Shimon Gamliel is asking the Rabbanan, Mamanav Shah, this Eved should always go back to the original owner, either because it's there was no Yush, and if it's after Yush, you have your Chizkiah. Fine. Well, the Rava Yush, the Rabbi Shani, and according to Rava, who says that it's talking about after Yush, right? And it goes when it means that he's going to be meshubed, it's going to the second owner. Rabbi Shani b'may kanaveh. So meaning the second owner, meaning the guy who's played to him, gets to keep this Eved. right? That's what Rava said. When it says that the owner could keep him, and it's after years, it's going on the second owner. So how is the second owner being kind of? Yeah. Rabbi Shani he's taking him, he's being kind of from the guy, right, that captured him. Shvai Gufei Mikanile is the guy that captures him. That's
not, that wouldn't be called pitying. That'd be called, it's like stealing him, you think you're being paid to him, and instead you're buying him. Why would that be called?
No, but how is the Kenyan? How is the Kenyan happening?
I don't know.
Isn't it a year Shishini Rishus here? Works with the Chazaka?
What?
Isn't there a year Shishini Rishus to be kind of?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm having a hard enough time trying to understand what the Gemara is saying, much less ask kashas of how it's working. Right? But anyways, so that's so the Gemara says yes, he's kind of the Eved for his Maisa Yada. I mean, he's not kind of the Eved himself, but he's kind of any work that the Eved does, he gets to keep. Right? How do we know that a guy can actually own another guy, but he can't own the guy straight out? It's a very interesting thing. It's like we're splitting ownership. He can't own the guy straight out, but he could own the work that the guy does. Only for his and also the people who are living with you, right? You're allowed to be kind to them, right? This is talking about that. This time when we moved into Eretz Yisrael, they had to kill anybody from the Shiva Umas, from the seven nations had to be killed. But if there was a father who was a Knani and the mother was not, the mother was a regular guy, then they were allowed to use them as avodim, and they were able to be kind to them. So atem kriyim mehem, atem kind of them. You can be kind to them, right? But they cannot be kind of. Can you 1 second? The guy from the area was calling. Hello. Yeah, I'm just in the middle of shir. What's
He wants to know if you know somebody named Weinstein.
Which double house?
There's a leaf hanging on the wall.
No lechi? I didn't notice. There's no lechi on the end of that fence? It doesn't go to the house. It goes to the tree. Not the closest tree, the second tree. Then it goes from that tree to the next tree. And then it doesn't attach to the house. There's a lechi. There should be a lechi on the tree, not the closest tree, the next tree. You sure? You shouldn't need. Already, I know that's a problem.
I'm
going to be finished in about a half hour. I'll call you, okay? But you see what I'm saying? It goes to the tree. There should be room for a car to fit in between that house and the tree. There's no lechis on those trees. Those lechis have been there since before I was born. I don't know if my brother Yisrael might remember. He might remember. Okay. All right. I don't know. You ran out of all that string? Yeah.
Tiago, it's not your problem. You're in camp. You're not in the bungalow. Who cares?
Cyril has drunk more scotch already than Peretz has.
Okay, I'll try and see if somebody.
Trial can't see the lechi, but it's looking right at him.
Use the string for the long stretches first, and then because they have string here, but it's not good for long stretches. So if you can use do the long stretches. Oh, okay, so that's good. Okay, I'll call you in about a half hour. Thank you. Okay. I apologize. One of these days, I tried to go see David's kid and Aaron's kid. I only saw Aaron from a distance. Your Simcha, and I didn't see
Simcha hasn't come over yet, Yaakov. We're making progress.
He hasn't come over. That's a good sign. He has not come over. At least as far as but I haven't really been around, so I can't really tell you. Okay, but all right. I apologize. Anyway, so the Gemara is saying, it's down at the bottom of the again. Atam kaina mehem, we can be kaina a guy, right, as a slave. On Tomad Aleph now. Yeah, v'loyhem kaina mikem, and they can't be kaina yid. A guy cannot be kaina yid. V'loyhem kaina mizeh, and the guy can't be kaina one from another. Now the Gemara, the terminology here is also confusing. So you think that a guy can't be kind of another guy. Now we just got finished saying that a guy can't. Saying so Gemara asks, what do you mean you think that you can't be kind of? You just got finished saying that they can't be kind of. Imagine you saying it, then you say a guy can't be kind of another guy. Then you say you think that a guy can't be kind of another guy, which usually the end of that sentence is commercial that a guy can be kind of another guy. But the Gemara is saying, well, you just said he can't, and now you're saying you think that he could. The Gemara answers, a guy cannot buy another guy to own his body. But you would think that they can't be kind of, your guy can't be kind of a guy, not for his body for sure he can't be kind of, but maybe just for his handiwork or whatever work he does. So then we're going to say a kavachayim. Yisrael kinda. A guy can buy a yid, right? But only for his ma'aseh yadav, meaning a guy could actually buy a yid, but just for his ma'aseh yadav, which I think is your standard employer, no? A standard and Goyish employer, doesn't he own the ma'aseh yadav of his employee? Right? I think. So Avik Achavim like Kol Sheken. So if a guy to a guy avada, meaning if a guy can own the handiwork of a yid, so of course the guy can buy of his fellow guy. Zimbar says, maybe he can only do it with kesef, but he can't do it with a chazaka, meaning there's other ways to be kind of things, like with a chazaka, like an eved, you could be kind of like having him do work, or you could do work on a karka. I mean, not everything needs to be bought with money. So Amar Papa, Amanu Mayav Taru B'Sichon. Aman and Mayav were matarit in Sichon, meaning, yes, you could not. There was basically, it was laundered. The Goyim were laundered. The Shema Umas were laundered, meaning, Aman and Mayav, you had to kill everybody. The din was that you had to kill everybody from Aman and Mayav had to be killed along with the other 5 nations. That was the din. But what happened was Aman and Mayav were taken by Sichon. Once they were taken by Sichon, Sichon wasn't one of the Shiva Umas. Right, so then you would be allowed to, because you're allowed to get them from Sichon. They became basically what we're saying is that the Sichon, I don't know how you say Sichon in plural. The Sichonites bought the Ammon and Mayav, and Memela, you see that one guy bought another guy, so that's a proof that you could do that. Fine. So Ashkan Avik Yisrael Minalan. You see that a guy could buy a guy. How do we know that a guy could buy a yid? So the Chsiv Vayesh Mimenu Shevi, and they took captives. Right. So when it says that they took captives, right, meaning this is talking about the Canaanim. It's in Bamidbar. The Canaanim captured the Yidden. Was this last week's parsha? Next week's parsha? What were we holding? Yeah, I think it was last week's parsha, right? When they Yidden decided they're going to go to that Israel anyways, Moshe Rabbeinu said, don't go after them, right? And it was a disaster. Okay, whatever it is. So you see that the Goyim captured the Yidden. Fine. How about an Eved who escaped? Right? What's the story? Till now, we're talking about where he was ransomed. What happens if he escaped? Now, who does he go back to? Does he go free, or does he go back to his original boss? So Yotze Lecheres, the Gemara says he goes out free. He does not go back to his boss. Not only that, but we force his master because of like get shikhr, and he has to write him a get shikhr. Now I understand, why do you need to get shikhr for? You just told him to go free. You just told me goes free. What do you need to get shikhr for? Because there's two levels of avdus. There's avdus for owning him, and then there's avdus for marriage. As long as he doesn't have a get shikhr, he cannot marry a yid, right? Once an Eved Kanani goes free, he becomes a full-fledged yid, right? But he can't marry a yid if he doesn't have that get shikhr. So even though he's free and he no longer has to work for his boss, but he still needs a get shikhr in order to be able to marry a yid. So that's why they force him to marry. They force the boss to give him a get shikhr. Fine. Now Rav Shimon Gamliel Mishnah says that whether they ransomed him for money or they ransomed him for to be free, he still goes back to the original boss. Anytime it says Rav Shimon Gamliel Mishnah halacha k'maisai chutz me'erev b'tzidon v'rayach rein, except for Arev. I'm sorry, I said Erev. For Arev, there's a case of Arev, and Tzidon is something with Gittin, but the name of a city, and Rayach rein, whatever it is. Those are the three that halacha is not like Rav Shimon Gamliel. Otherwise, halacha is Rav Shimon Gamliel. So you see Rav Yochanan paskins like Rav Shimon Gamliel. So this Shlomo Abaya mupi lo lahai lefnei yish. So Abaya is going to say that this halacha, that Rav Yochanan had said that a guy goes free. If he escapes, he goes free. So we're going to say it's talking about lefnei yish. I'm sorry, the one that he. Sorry, Bishlam Abaya. No, so Abaya is going to say mupi lo lahai lefnei yish. He's going to say that the guy that has to get ransom is lefnei yish, so that's why he goes back to the boss. In this case, when he goes free, is after yish. But according to Rava, who says it's after yish, it's a steer from Yochanan because Yochanan clearly goes like Rav Shimon Gamliel. And here we're saying that the guy, if it's achar yish, right, he still has to go back. Meaning the original Mishnah says he has to go back to the boss if it's after years. So why should it be? And meaning you have no way of answering. Both of these Mishnayos have to be talking about after years, right? Otherwise, how can this guy go free? So what's the whole reason why he said that Rava said that he doesn't go back to he goes back to the original, to the owner, second owner, even after years, because of Chizkiah. Because again, Chizkiah was afraid that an Eved is gonna, if you're gonna allow an Eved to get captured and he goes free, so every Eved is gonna let himself get captured. By Re'ach Shani, running away is different. Because why? If this guy is willing to risk his life by escaping from the guy that kidnapped him, which a guy is not going to be happy with it, so he's risking his life. Is he going to give? Is he going to give himself to the kidnappers? Right, meaning a guy who's willing to put his life at risk to get away from these guys is not going to go give himself up to them in order to get himself free. So therefore, it's not a concern. Meaning an Eved who may get ransomed, so we have to be concerned that he's going to get himself captured in order to get himself free. But a guy who's willing to run away from them clearly is not going to do that. Fine. Now the Gemara brings a few stories of that get captured. Right, so Amsei, who's a female slave, the Shmuel Ishtavai. Shmuel's female slave, was captured. Parkua l'shum amhasa. So parkua means they were paid to her in order that she should continue to be a slave. The Shadru alei, and they sent her back to Shmuel. They sent her back to original boss. Sholchulei, and what they said, they sent with her, and they sent the message. Anan Rav Shimon Gamliel, because we all like Rav Shimon Gamliel, who says that it always goes back to the original owner. And you, even if you say like the Rabbanon, which means that it would depend on why we were paid to her. We were paid to her so that you should have her back. So since we were paid to her that you should have her back, So therefore, it's yours. She's yours, right? The Inu Savar, and they held the Fnei Yeshava. They held that Mar Shmuel was not miyayish on her on getting her back. And it's not true. It was after years. Shmuel and Shmuel let me buy the shtabu they let me shtabit. But according to Shmuel, he doesn't need to say that he didn't make her into a slave. So he didn't even require her to have a get. And Taisa says it's going according to Abaya. And Shmuel Tameh, why is Shmuel saying what he said? Meaning, why did Shmuel let her go free? Somebody who makes his Eved Hefker, so he does not need a get shikr for Shenemar, B'chol Eved Ish Miknas Kesef. This is talking about if you want to let your, this is talking about the Korban Pesach. So a person cannot be part of the Korban Pesach. So we know it's Pasha, a man has to be, if a man is an oral, he cannot eat the Korban Pesach. But even if his Avadim don't have brisim, he cannot eat the Korban Pesach. So it says, V'chol Eved Ish Miknas Kesef. If a man owns it, then they all need a bris. Eved Ish, V'loy Eved Isha. It's mashma that only the Eved of it Ish needs to have a bris, but if a woman owns Avadim, she could eat the Korban Pesach even if her Avadim don't have brisim? No. An Eved whose master has reshus on him is called an Eved. But if there's no reshus, then he's not called an Eved. So therefore, once a guy's mafkir is Eved, he's gone, he's free. You don't need anything. Right? So that's what Shmuel held. Fine. I'm saying another story. I'm saying the Rav Abba Bar Zutra, Ishtavoy, the slave of Abba Bar Zutra was captured. Parka Hahu Tarmuda Lashum Itza. So a Tarmuda, a guy, was paid to her in order to marry her. So Shalchalei. So the Rabbanon sent to Rav Abba and said, "Iyos Avad, if you want to do a good thing, meaning your slave was just captured by a guy, he wants to marry her. If you want to do a good thing, Shada Lagita the Cherusa sent her the get, freeing her." So I asked, what's the case? Either Matsu Parkala, if the Chachamim were able to be paid to her, Lama Ligita the Cherusa, why do you need to get Cherus? Just be paid to her and give her back to Rav Abba. Right? Either Laimatsu Parkala, and if they don't have the ability to be paid, Kishada Lagita the Cherusa, my hobby. Right? What's it going to help to send the get of Cherus? How's she going to get out? This guy captured her. Oh, this guy redeemed her, and he wants to marry her. So what is sending her a get shikr going to help? So Gemara says, "Lailam the matzu parkala." It's talking about where the chachamim could be paid. But even the mishada lagita the cherusa, since he sent her, if Rav Abba would send her a get freeing her, chavuri mechrei adadi parkila, then the people are going to hear about it. And they say, "Oh, he freed her. Let's be paid to her so she could be free." That's one shot. Or it's somewhere where the chachamim could not be paid to her. But here they pulled a shtick. The kiddim and the shadala get to the Rus, and since they're going to tell Rav Abba to send a get over there, mitzala ba'apei umafrikla, then she's going to become cheap in his eyes, and he's going to be paid to her. Meaning that the guy is going to be paid to her because he didn't know that she was a slave. It's pasnished for him, this guy, to be married to a slave. So like this, how's he going to find out if she's a slave? If Rav Abba sends a document that says that she's no longer a slave, so then he's going to say she's disgusting and he's not going to marry her, and then she'll go free and everybody will live happily ever after. So Gemara asks, right? Mar says, the Gemara that a guy would rather sleep with the animal of a yid than his own wife. So Kol Shekain, he's going to want to sleep with the eved of a yid. Yeah? So my answer is, Nahani Mili B'tzina. That's only B'tzina, meaning B'tzina, he would rather sleep with a yid's animal than his own wife. But Farhesia, it's too cheap, meaning he's not going to, in public, he can't, it's that he can't do. He's not going to show people that he'd rather go with an animal of a yid, meaning he has to say that the guy is better. So, and this is talking about in public. Fine. Third story. There was a lady in a slave in Pumbedisa, that everybody was doing Isurim with her, meaning they were being promiscuous with her. So what do you do about this? Again, she has the din of a yid. So they're messing around with her. Right, Rabban, this is what you were asking about yesterday. Anybody who's frees, if it wouldn't be a mitzvah say that anybody who frees an eved is over a mitzvah say, have a kaifina leid lamara, I would force her master to free her. And to write a get cheres. Like this, what's going to happen? And then she'll marry a yid who will save her. It's a fascinating thing. They're gonna make him free her, and then you're gonna go marry her off to a yid who's gonna say, "Hey, do you mind? This lady's getting messed around with. Marry her so you could save her." Right? Really? I mean, if that's what people were willing to marry people for, then the world be a good place. Right? Just do him a favor. I once over from Gil Abranovich. He said, if somebody tells you that this girl's right for you because you could help her out, but she may not be right for you, should you marry her? And he said he doesn't think why not. You shouldn't marry her. Shouldn't marry her just to help her out. That's the way. I don't know. That's a Yerushalmi
maybe they paid a lot of shotchanas.
Yeah, I was gonna say people pay a lot of money to get a green card. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody knows of anything, I'm open to options.
There you go. Okay. Anyways, so that's what he said. He would have forced him to do it. So he says, yeah, so free her. Rabbi Yehuda would be Maida. Rabbi Yehuda would be Maida. That because since she's being over on Isurim, that's a good enough reason to free a slave. Meaning, yes, there's a mitzvah to say not to free a slave and have a Kanani. But if you have a good reason, she's being over on Isurim, so then do it. Okay, but Abaya clearly did not go with that. Because he had said that he would force her to be freed. Abaya should be Surah and Abaya, because of Isser, not Homer of Chanina Barav, Katina, Homer of Yitzim. There was a Isha who was half free and half a shivcha, meaning she had two owners. The classic example, she had two owners. One freed her, one didn't. Antam Beis now. The kafa was Rabba, Basar Baschayrin. They forced the other master to make her into a Baschayrin. Minig Hefker no guba. Right? And Rabbi Yitzchak Nachas said, why they force the guy to free her? Because people were being like Minig Hefker. Since she couldn't marry a Yid, she couldn't marry a guy, so she was in no man's land. Right? I mean, she could marry another Avid, but that's it. Well, I'm sorry, no, right. In this case, she couldn't because she was half free. Right? She was half free, so she was in the middle of nowhere, right? So she couldn't do anything. So people were just mizana with her because they figured ain't nobody that's going to there's nobody to answer to. So Gemara says, Hachi, and so meaning the kasha is, so you see that because a woman's being over in Isurim, we will force the person, the boss, to free her. So Gemara says, Hachi, ashtasam, loy lavid, loy le'evid chazi, loy le'ben chayr chazi. There, the reason why we said it, because she couldn't marry an evid, and she couldn't marry ben chayr. But here, she has a possibility. Why can't you give her an evid? Meaning in the first case, she's an evid. People are being promiscuous with her. Okay, so get her an evid. The evid will watch her. Why do you have to free her and then go with a yid? Fine. So Gufa Amar Rabbi Yudam Shmuel Kol Mashal Ra'adei Oiver Ba'asei. Anybody who frees an eved, it's not a lav. It's interesting. It's not a lav to free an eved. It's Yivvatal Mitzvah Sasei. Shenemer Loilam Vehem Tavoidu. That they have to work for you ever. So Meisvei Ma'aseh Rabbi Eliezer, this from Naphtali. Shenichlas Beis HaKnesses V'lei Motzah Asara. He didn't find 10. V'shichar Avdoi V'shlimul Asara, and he was freed his slave, and he had a minion. So Gemara answers mitzvah shani. So for a mitzvah is different. Right? A mitzvah, you're allowed to be mevatel a mitzvah saseh. Now, unfortunately, like we know, it's a Friday, but this is a major sugya right here. Since
for
when can you
for a one-time minion?
For a minion, imagine you're being mevatel of mitzvah saseh in order to get to minion. This is for the minion people. This is a real.
Why is everyone? We had this already. It's a repeat Gemara.
Therefore, what, Naphtali? What's
Naphtali wants a refund.
Naphtali, should we test you on yesterday's Gemara?
No. I'm just saying, why is everyone shocked? I'm saying.
Good, because don't test me either. But I'm saying no, but this.
We just got rid of COVID. That's why, Naphtali.
Okay, fine.
It's for a truth.
You have a different look. You have a different outlook now on what's it called on minyanim from before we learned it last time. Okay, fine. Good answer.
Yeah. That's good. That's not good.
That's a good answer. Okay.
Yeah. So minion is a reshus. That's A. You're muted.
You're muted.
He just wants to yell at me. We know what he wants to say.
Since you learned the Gemara already, could you explain it to me why you being mevatul a mitzvah deraisa to daven
I did-
the
wait, wait, wait.
din derabbanan of a minion?
No,
Could you please
I didn't
explain
say.
it to me,
I
please?
didn't say I understood the Gemara.
Oh, so then
I
what do
just
you care
said-
if we learned
one
it
second.
already? What's the
I
difference?
just, all I commented was the outrage was like we never had this before. We had this.
Okay,
we
let's
had
explain
the
it to
let's
me.
focus on the
So
topic at
explain
hand.
it to, I'm asking you,
Okay.
Let's focus on the topic,
explain
not
it to
on
me.
Naftali.
You learned it already, explain it to me.
Yeah. Now, even by the way, even if you say that it's a mitzvah derabbanan to daven with the minyan, but it's not a deraisa, because tefillah is not even deraisa according to most, right? So, but even you want to say it's a derabbanan, so you knock out a deraisa for a derabbanan.
Wait,
So
even
some
if you
say-
said it was deraisa, it would still be asay doich asay.
Correct.
And now,
Correct.
if we just had lois asay doich asay somehow, because
Yeah.
of Isurim with doich and asay, that's just how does that
Anyway,
work?
so the Rosh, right? Even the article brings this. I don't know if anybody remembers this. I certainly don't remember it in the Russian brachas, right? That a what do you call it? A mitzvah derabim is different. Mitzvah derabim is a much different thing. So mitzvah derabim, you might be able to be doicha a mitzvah saseh. Now the problem is
It's not a mitzvah derabim. Why is it a mitzvah derabim?
Minyan.
If you have minyan, it's a mitzvah derabim. If you don't have
Right.
minyan, it's no mitzvah derabim.
I was wondering that, right? So if you only have 9, what you got to do, right? What are you going to do? And it's a funny thing because I don't see myself davening Marav with the minyan tonight. Not the way we're headed with the Erevin. So, it's good. It's good. Am I being? It's not a mitzvah. I say Erev. I don't even know. I don't know.
Is that the same as last week also?
Sort of. Last week I was also that I was.
You almost have a chazaka.
It's funny, Dov. You know, it says like if you do an Avera and you do it twice, it's mamish. I'm thinking like tonight, I don't feel nearly as guilty as I did last week. It's terrible.
I've never used the Erev as an excuse not to daven, but it's a good one. I like it.
Okay, there you go.
I'll add it to my repertoire.
I have a minute to be mitzvah for cotton. The having to be mitzvah for cotton is also when there's only 9, and the cotton would be the center. So obviously you see that
you can't hold the Sefer Torah Rakamim because there's no.
It's a good. A cotton and a chumash is good.
No, but the problem is that we get people extend this to Loisa says too. How many people on a Shabbos afternoon needed the air conditioner? I said it's a rabbim. We're a few people. It's a rabbim. Let's do an issa, right? It gets a little. It's a mir lakum. Anyways,
they'll
also
the Erev back up. They'll put the Erev back up on Shabbos.
Yeah, there you go. But what do you call it? They bring, because the little research I don't really have. I didn't even get a chance to look at Svarim today. I wanted to look at a Marsha and the next Gemara. We can't stop before we learn the next Gemara. But anyways, they bring in the bottom of the article the Ramban, who says the Isser to free a slave could be. I don't know. I didn't look it up. Is if you're doing it to be nice to the slave. If you're doing it for another reason, there's no Isser. Right? Meaning you can, like, I guess it comes from like Lysachonim. You're not supposed to give a guy something free, even though he has the din of a yid. So that's what the Isser was, to be nice to the slave. But otherwise not. Okay, well, it's okay. So let's see. We got to see the next Gemara. Fine. La'ilam. Now the Gemara continues. I don't know why there's 2 dots here. La'ilam behem tavoid. At least in my Gemara has 2 dots. It says la'ilam behem tavoid. They have to work for you forever. That's a mitzvah say, right? Rishus that's a rishus. Rabbi Shmuel. So it's a radio machlokes, right? Rabbi Shmuel holds it's a rishus, it's not a chiyuv. Meaning, if you hold it's a rishus that they work for you forever, so then you're allowed to free them. That's Shitas Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Kiva holds no, it's a chayiv. You cannot let them feel free, and that's how we pass them. But Dilma Rebbe Lazar Savala, command Rishus. Maybe Rebbe Eliezer, who freed the Eved, went like Rabbi Shmuel. Right? We're all big lamdanim, and we said, how could he free a slave? And mitzvahs, he's being about the mitzvah. Say, well, maybe he goes like Rabbi Shmuel, who holds you're allowed to free a slave. Right? Like any guy that does, I hold like the Das Yochid, I go, I have that shit. I got a rabbi up somewhere. Obviously not the same. It's Rabbi Shmuel. I'm saying, but maybe he goes like that shita. So what's the Leisakadai? You can't think that. Tani Behedya, we said Beferish, but Yezer Aimer Chayver. We have the Ksav, the realizer says it's a Chayv. Fine. Now here's the Musar Shabbai. Omar Rabbah. And I don't know if Elio logged off. All right, whatever. Amar Rabbah. Bahani tlas mili nachsi bali batim in Ixayin. But these 3 things, balabatim, will lose their money. The mafki of Avdayu lecherusa, this is why the Gemara is saying this, because they free their slaves, right? With this Sairi Nichsayu b'Shabsa, and they go look into their stuff on Shabbos, right? meaning they go look at their fields on Shabbos. Now, I don't know. Does this mean that they look also at the Wall Street Journal? I don't know if that means. I don't know, because l'chara means they have to check their accounts, etc. Stam doing business, stam reading business is the rabbanon, right? And then that's the second one. We wanted to
just for Naftali. Didn't we have a Gemara about Talmidei Chachamim going out into the fields at the end of Shabbos and Yom Tov?
Yeah, we did.
And it's mutter.
That was only at the end of Shabbos, right? Right?
Well, let them do a business. What do you mean for me? Let them do a business.
They did. They went to check on their fields about it.
Yes, it was checking the fields.
It's for you because it was the previous Gemara that we learned once.
It was Talmidei Chachamim.
We had Gemaras where people patted themselves from Sukkah because they were on business trips, right? We never understood that. But anyways,
and what do you mean, Megillah also?
Megillah, right? Megillah, yeah. That, again, it's another plug for us for our dar, Baruch Hashem, that we're a good dar, right? They make their Suda Shabbos when they're supposed to be by the drush of the rabbi. What does this say for Kiddush clubs, right? Now, some of these are more. One is a bittul asay, one is a divrei Kabbalah, and one is I don't know. It's being about the learning. Okay. There were two families of Yerushalayim. One of them had their meal on Shabbos, but what they did it during when they were supposed to be in Besmerish by the rabbi's speech. And one of them was Kaveya the Sudan Erev Shabbos. Ushtei and Nekru, and they both were, now I don't know why it says uprooted, right? We said I don't know if uprooted, I don't even know what uprooted means. Does it mean that they lost their money? Right? What did the second family do? They ate on Erev Shabbos. This is against all those Erev Shabbos clubs.
Tamel, right?
The Toyamel things, right? And they ate.
You're a Kehila's dream for Murad Ashraf. Forget about giving drushes. You don't even make it to shul.
Okay, but at least I'm not eating. Although they had a reader's truck here, just for those that have kids in camp. They had a reader's truck. They had a reader's truck and a thing. Oh, you get everything on the status. Anyway,
they asked for the credit card.
That already they asked for a long time ago, parents. Yeah. So Shtei and Nekru, but they're both Nekar. So meaning this one, they ate the Suda before Shabbos. They didn't go into Shabbos hungry. Fine. Does the Olam have to go yet, or we could go a little bit more?
6:40 in the White Show.
6:40, 5 minutes.
Okay, so we got 5 minutes. Okay, fine. So
it's 6:32. You have 10 minutes.
Are you allowed to miss davening if you're on the daf?
Yes, we got plenty of time.
Are you allowed to miss the minyan if you're on the daf?
Of course,
it's a good question, David. You had
if you ask Gershon for sure. If you ask Gershon, 100%. Right,
Rabbi
Gershon?
Stein, I once heard Rabbi Stein say that you don't have to stop learning to daven. Am I wrong? Am I misquoting?
No. I
wouldn't quote something like that not in front of you.
Yeah.
Hey, we now have 3 minutes.
Okay, so Amar Rab. Hamakdish avda yotzel l'cheres. This is an interesting thing. Now, for me, again, with my PTSD, that when I with hektish, kachim, and avodim, my brain totally fries. But okay, hamakdish avda yotzel l'cheres. So somebody who makes his eved into hektish, he goes out to cheres, meaning he's automatically freed. Again, he says, "I'm donating my eved to the Beis Hamikdash." He goes free. My timer. What's the reason? So gufei like kadosh, he can't be makdish a human to the Beis Hamikdash. He's not an animal, right? And you can't. It's karka. You can't. Meaning you could do cherem, you could do the worth of it, etc., but you can't bring the actual person get be hektish. L'dami like come on. He didn't say that he's giving the worth. He said he's actually being makdish his eved. So what did he mean here? So Gemara answers the lahavi am. So what he meant is the lahavi am kadosh. When he said hektish, he says he wants him to be from the Am Kadosh. He wants him to be a full-fledged Yid, and Mamela, that means he goes free. So basically, Rabba B'Shem Rabba is saying a big chiddush. He's saying that if a guy's makdish is eved, basically it's just a code word that he's letting him go free. That's it. Because it can't possibly mean he means regular hektish. If he makes his eved hefker, he goes free. So Mandam makdish, the one who says that he goes free, if he makes it hektish, kol shekain mafker. It's kol shekain that he's mafker it. Mandam mafker, the one that says mafker of a makdish loy, but hektish not. Maybe he meant that he's giving, when he said he's making his slave hektish, he didn't mean he's making the actual slave into hektish, because obviously you can't be makar of a slave. what he's doing, he's giving the worth of it. So they asked the Shaila, Tzarok get shikhr or light tzarok. Good. So they're both saying that if you make him hektish or he makes him hefker, he goes free. Does he need to get shikhr or not? So Tashma, Damar Abchia Barav, Amarav, Echadze v'Echadze, Yatzel Lecheres, but Tzarok get shikhr. They do need to get shikhr, which is not like Shmuel on Amar Aleph, who said that he does not need to get shikhr. So here he's saying he does need. So Amar Rabba, Moisvina Nashmaitzin, Rabba said, because Rabba's the one that said this over Shem Rav, we have a kasha from our Gemara, Makdish Nechasam, somebody who's Makdish, all his belongings, Vayu ben Avadim, and in part of his belongings is Avadim, meaning he's basically says, everything I own is Hektish. And there are some Avadim in there. So Ena Gizbar Rashayin Latzian Lecheres, the Gizbar, how do you call it Gizbar? The treasurers are not allowed to, they can't let him go out free. But what they do is they sell the slave to somebody else, who then that money becomes hektish. And the other people let him go free. Rebbe says, Aimer ani afhu. I say that afhu noisin demei atzmei v'yotze. He says no, he could buy himself out and he can go free. Because it's as if he was sold. He sold himself to himself. But whatever it is, you see that an Eved could become hektish. Didn't we just say Eved cannot become hektish? Here, clearly an Eved could become hektish. So the Gemara asks, and why the Gemara always doesn't answer this is Gershin's favorite teretz. Masisin Karamis Alei, the Rav asking Rav from a Mishnah, Rav Tano Palig. Rav is a Tano Palig. Don't start off with Rav. He's an Amira, but he's a Tana. So the Gemara said, okay, we'll ask him a different kasha. That will be a kasha even on Rav. Tashma Ach Kol Cherem. The pasuk says, then if a guy makes a cherem is another way of making something hektish. Then it becomes kaddish. Me adam elu avodah v'shevchaysav v'kanana. When it says the pasuk that he can make an adam into cherem, it means even his avodah v'shevchaysav v'kananim. So you see that you could make them into hektish. Now, why can't you just say Rav Tano Palik? The reason for that is Rashi says is because this is a pasuk. Since this is a pasuk, Rav can't be chalik on a pasuk. This pasuk is clearly saying that you could become, you could make hektish. It says, that case talking about where he didn't make the Eved hektish, he made the worth of the Eved hektish. So it says, the Brisa you said that you can't ask on Rav because it's Tano Palig, right? That's also, why don't you just say that's talking about money too? So it says you can't, because when it says the Gizbarim can't put him out the cheres, what's the Gizbarim doing? I mean, what do they have to do with anything here? He's the worth of him is hektish. And furthermore, you could sell them to other people. And the other people free the slave. What do they have to do with it? The guy's not a slave. Only what his worth is a slave. Rebbe says he can buy himself out. It's as if he sold himself to himself. Whatever that means. And if it's for money, what does it mean? Because he sold himself to himself. He can't buy himself. It was only the worth, his worth. So therefore, it can't be talking about Ludimei. So basically we have two prices that are kash on Rav Rav says that when a guy makes his Eved into hektish, he becomes free automatically. The first one we said Rav is a Tana and he's a Palik, he could disagree. And the second one says that it's not talking about where he made the actual Eved into a slave, it's talking about where he made the worth of the evidence to the slave, and therefore it's fine. Yeah, fine. Okay, I'm sorry for all the disturbances and all that. Have yourselves a fine Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Okay, good Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
All right, I got a text that they found string, so that's good.